Welcome everybody, welcome back to Fitment Industries Garage and another edition of What Wheels Fit series, where we take a good look into what wheels and tires fit your cars by using the information offered over at the Fitment Industries Gallery. Today we're going to be taking a look at another generation of the beloved Honda Civic, and today that generation just so happens to be the 10th generation of the lovely Japanese car. So grab your pen and paper and let's talk about some wheel fitment and get right into some different setups of the 10th generation of the Honda Civic. Before we just go ahead and jump right into it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And you know, like once you find out what wheels and tires fit your Honda Civic, hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com where you can hook yourself up with a brand new wheel and tire package, maybe some suspension, who knows. Anyway, let's get into it. When talking about the 10th generation of Honda Civic, we are specifically looking at the model years between 2015 to present, in which, I mean, if you're watching this in 2020, I mean present of 2020. If you're watching this in 2023 and there's a new generation of Civic that happens to be out, you know, we haven't been taken out by a certain virus that's going around right now, then we probably have a video done already out there that you can check out. But anyway, we're talking about the 10th generation today. We're looking at a recommended fitment range of 16 to 20 inches for the diameter, 6.5 to 10.5 inches for width, and offsets landing anywhere between plus 15 and plus 50, which doesn't really tell you that much. So quite the range, and there's more likely more confusion when I tell you that than anything. So let's take a look into some more specific fitments. So let's take a closer look to what most people are running for aftermarket setups on these cars and see firsthand what those setups look like. So the first type of fitment we're going to be going over and covering is going to be something that is a nearly flush fitment that's good for an all-around daily driving setup. Something that isn't going to require you to roll your fenders. It's not going to rub. It's not going to, you know, have to remove fender liners, anything like that, but it's going to look still killer. So first up, we have a 2017 rocking some Konig Ampliforms of the size of 18 by 8.5 plus 35, 235/40 for the tire size, sitting on some BC Racing coilovers. Now, like I said, no trimming or fender rolling needed and no rubbing issues with this setup. Our next example would be another 2017 with some Cosmis Racing XT206Rs. So going up a ½ inch in width with this guy. We're looking at an 18 by 9 plus 35 with a 225/45 tire, sitting on some coilovers as well. And getting a bit more aggressive with the fitment before we go into our next category, we have another 2017 with some ESR SR09s, 18 by 8.5 plus 30 with a 235/40 tire for the size, and again sitting on some coilovers for the suspension. So going a bit bigger with the tire and going down a bit in the offset gets this setup a little more flush and looks really, really good. Moving into our next category, we'll be looking at some cars that have a little bit more of an aggressive flush fitment that may require some fender rolling or modifications of fender liners to make sure that nothing rubs. So at the very minimum, probably some fender rolling here or there. So first up on that list, we have 2018 and some Konig Ampliforms again, but this time we were looking at a size of 18 by 9.5 plus 35 with a 235/40 tire. Now this is actually on some Eibach lowering springs, not coilovers this time around, so not crazy low, but still a good amount of drop to get that fitment nice and neat. We also have a similar setup on this 2018 that gets a little more specific with the offset. We have some Ambit RE83s, 18 by 9.5 plus 38. So 245/40 tire sitting on some lowering springs as well. And then to close out this list, we have a 2018 again sitting on some ESR SR08s, 18 by 9.5, and then dropping that offset down to a plus 22. So that stretches that 215/35 on that 9.5, all while sitting on some Godspeed Project coilovers. So with that, for the most part, if you're looking for a nearly flush or flush fitment, you're going to find yourself with an 18 by 8.5 or up to an 18 by 9.5 with an offset landing between plus 35 or plus 38, depending on the tire size that you want to run. However, that doesn't mean that that's what you're limited to, because some of you guys like to run some really wide wheels out there and get that nice fender to lip fitment. And don't worry, we got you covered there too. So a little disclaimer before we move into these next ones. These setups are going to, at the very minimum, require fender rolling or pulling of some fenders with the possibility of additional aftermarket suspension components to get everything dialed in to fit correctly. So that being said, here we go. First up with a 2017 with some Cosmis Racing XT006Rs, 18 by 9 plus 30 with a 225/40 tire sitting on some Airlift Air Performance suspension. So nothing too different as far as the sizes go, but with getting that low with the air, we see it fall into this category. Next up, we have another 2017 with some Infinite Works GTs, 18 by 9.5 plus 22 with a 225/35 tire on some True Heart air suspension, looking real nice. Now, keeping with that air theme, we have this 2016 moving into our next car on some Cosmis Racing XT206Rs again, 18 by 9.5 plus 10. So a lot more aggressive from that previous one. 215/35 for the tire on some True Heart air suspension again. And I think the setup looks really, really nice. The 206Rs in this size with that low offset really sets off the design, and they look really good on the Civics. And then to close out the day, we have this 2017 on some Rotiform RSE wheels, 19 by 10 plus 25. So 215/35 for the tire on this guy with some Airlift Performance air suspension. So going up to that 19-inch in diameter and 10-inch in width, this car comes together really, really nice and shows that even 19s can be pulled off with the newest generation of Civics as well. However, I would only do it if you are looking to run a fitment like this, because it just kind of all ties together and looks really sharp. So that's gonna wrap it up for today. Hopefully we helped you guys out in your journey to find a new aftermarket wheel and tire setup for your Honda Civic. Don't forget, drop a comment down below and hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if we unfortunately didn't cover exactly what you're looking for, you can head on over to the gallery at fitmentindustries.com where we found all these cars with all of the specifics needed to find out if that setup is going to fit your car or not. There's like literally hundreds of Civics in the gallery. Go check it out, fitmentindustries.com. But we will see you next time.